You all ready?
We're ready. I'm Sheriff Pat Ivy. What can you tell us?
Is everybody ready?
Oh, sorry.
We'll give you some, bro, you got a clear line of sight right here if you want to move over here. We're gonna be fair, y'all. He's about to put a camera right there so you can be able to see. There you go. I appreciate that. Cooperate. Let me know when you're ready. Ready?
Under Sheriff, we are live right now. What can you tell us the latest?
At about 2 o'clock today, this afternoon, a high-risk search warrant was being served at a residence just behind me that you can see, in reference to narcotics activity. During the serving of the warrant, the members that were serving the warrant came in contact with an individual in the residence that was armed with a handgun. One of the officers that was serving the warrant, a 12-year veteran with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Nick Rogers, discharged his issued .223 caliber rifle, striking that subject, who has now been pronounced deceased. Can't identify or give his identity at this point. It's not confirmed. There were other individuals inside the residence. We are still conducting an investigation in reference to any of them going to jail for any various charges. I will say that aside from the handgun that the subject was armed with, there were other firearms and narcotics that were observed in plain view by the officers. So,
were shots exchanged towards the officer, or
no.
why did the officer fire? Why was the officer killed first?
Preliminary information is that the subject was armed, had a handgun in his hand, and turned towards the officers.
Did he, who else was in the house at the time? We're hearing a mom and kids. Can you speak to who else was in the house?
After the incident involving the shooting, officers then checked a different room, and juveniles were located.
Were these undercover officers? Was this a sting? What's the backstory?
These are, in a high-risk warrant situation, you have officers that are trained in that. These are members of the SWAT team. You saw the large apparatus that we had, the bear that was behind us. That vehicle is used for high-risk warrants by members of the SWAT team.
What made this a high-risk warrant?
There was information that the subject that was dealing in narcotics had been armed on previous occasions. And obviously that information ended up being true.
Was he the only officer here?
No.
Any idea how many shots he fired?
No, not at this time.
What type of narcotics?
Cocaine.
Is the man who was killed believed to be the subject of the search warrant?
Yes.
Is the man who was killed lived there, and was he related to the other people in the house?
I don't have that information.
And can you say if where the shots were fired, if these children were in danger of being hit with a bullet?
Trajectory of rounds and things of that nature I can't comment on. We will do an updating briefing tomorrow. I'll try to give as much as I can today. But identity of the subject, exact number of shots, things of that nature will be given out tomorrow.
Are your officers cognizant of knowing they can go into these high-risk warrants, knowing there could be other people, innocents, in harm's way?
Absolutely, yes. They do a briefing before every execution of the warrant, which includes be mindful of animals, children, other people, pedestrian traffic, vehicular traffic, the structure itself, all those.
And that comes down to where they fire their shots.
They've always be mindful of what we call the backstop. What is behind the subject you're discharging?
Since these were officers in full SWAT gear, do we know what weapon the officer used? A sidearm?
I told you it was a .223 caliber issued rifle.
How many officers entered the home?
They did not enter the home. Before they breached the doorway, the subject met them with the firearm.
So he was shot in the doorway?
He was not in the doorway, the officers were.
Okay, and so they shot into the house from the doorway?
And how many officers, I guess, were involved at that point?
I believe we had at least 5 at that entry point.
Can you say, was the officer who fired the one that was in the doorway and maybe 4 behind him? Can you, I guess, give us that layout?
He would have been the first in line of sight.
Is he on administrative leave?
Yes, he is. As normal protocol, he was placed on administrative leave. pending a review.
So the picture we saw here when we got on scene, the SWAT van and where it was parked and everything, that was essentially a snapshot of where everyone was when this incident unfolded.
I can't comment. I didn't see that snapshot, but that vehicle was where it would have been. But the individuals, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
We've talked to residents around here, say police are always in this area, saying there's a lot of drug issues and they're constantly here almost to the point of harassment. Could you respond to that?
You're saying the police are harassing them?
People say there's so much police here. Some of the residents I've talked to, they feel almost to the point of harassment.
Well, I can say this: I was the narcotics commander for 4 years. Many people in this community consistently called us to address the narcotics and prostitution activity in this area, very specific to this very immediate area.
How long had this suspect been under investigation?
I can't comment on that. I don't have that information.
Is there anyone else named on that warrant, the high-risk warrant that started the law?
I do not know. I have not seen. It would have been a search warrant for the residents. You understand the difference? Residential.
And does the officer involved have any prior incidents or shootings?
Yes, he does.
How many?
I don't have that number. I don't have the specifics, but yes, I have personal knowledge that he has been involved in an officer-involved shooting before.
Do we have a spelling on his last name?
R-O-D-G-R-S.
And you say you're not going to identify the subject. Is he an adult male? You say?
Appears to be an adult black man.
It was Nick Rogers, N-I-C-K.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned there were juveniles in a room next to where the shooting happened. Was there anyone in the vicinity of the shooting itself other than the suspect?
Preliminary information is all I have. I can't talk to positioning of individuals yet. We'll try to get that for you tomorrow.
And were there anyone else other than the juveniles?
Yes. Inside the residence?
Yeah. Can you
Yes.
say the numbers? How many were there?
At this information, this number may be off by 1 or 2. I know of another male, 2 adult females, and 2 children.
What kind of drugs were in the house?
Okay.
The children, you say, kind of an age range? Were they young children or were they teenagers?
I don't have that. I think they're fairly young children, but I can't.
Was this the only site involved in the drug interdiction now today, the high-risk warrant, or were there other locations you guys were raiding or anything like that?
I don't have that information. I just know about this one.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you. So